The flickering flames of the candles danced in the darkness, casting long shadows across the worn pages of the ancient book. Tonight, we share with you a story of mystery, sorrow, and despair. It's the true story of the Lady of the Lake in Mexico City. In the heart of Mexico City lies the sprawling Chapultepec Park, a vast expanse of over 1,600 acres, making it the largest urban park in Latin America. Within its boundaries is a man-made lake reflecting the beauty of the surrounding flora and fauna. But as the sun sets and twilight descends, the tranquility of the lake is shattered by the haunting presence that emerges, the Lady of the Lake. Chapultepec, meaning Grasshopper Hill in Nahuatl, has been a sacred site since the days of the Aztecs. Legends speak of its connection to the spiritual realm, and the priests who once inhabited the area told tales of malevolent spirits lurking in the shadows of the trees and whispering secrets on the wind. These whispers carried warnings of impending doom, foretelling tragedy and misfortune for those who dared to venture into the park after dark. As the Spanish conquistadors arrived in the 16th century, they encountered these ancient beliefs head-on. The colonial chronicles of the time contain references to a mysterious figure known as the Crying Woman. Friars recorded hearing her mournful cries near the rivers and canals that crisscrossed Mexico City. They saw her as an ill omen, believing her presence foretold some impending calamity. But the Lady of the Lake wasn't content to remain hidden in the shadows. As the years passed, her legend grew, and with it, the tales of her sightings multiplied. One evening, a young couple strolled through the gardens of Chapultepec Castle, their laughter echoing through the trees as they basked in the glow of each other's company. Suddenly, the air grew heavy with mist, and the couple found themselves enveloped in an eerie fog. Through the haze, they saw a woman standing by the lake, her white dress flowing around her like a shroud. Mesmerized by her ethereal beauty, they approached her, but as they drew closer, her form began to shimmer and fade until she vanished from sight. Moments later, the sound of her sorrowful cries pierced the air, and the couple fled in terror. Word of the encounter spread, and soon others began hearing the cries too. Each telling added another layer to the mystery, and the figure in white became a fixture of local lore. Some said she was the ghost of a young woman who had drowned in the lake, forever condemned to wander its shores. Others claimed she was the embodiment of La Llorona, the weeping mother who had drowned her children and now searched for them among the living. But as the sun set and the moon replaced the day, the park took on a sinister new persona. Those who ventured into its embrace after dark bore witness to the Lady of the Lake's terrifying presence. In the flickering lamplight, they saw her emerge from the mist, her face pale and drawn, her eyes hollow and haunting. She walked with a slow, deliberate pace, her gaze fixed on some distant point beyond the trees. Her ethereal beauty was both captivating and terrifying, and those who saw her were mesmerized by her otherworldly presence. As she glided through the park, her mournful cries echoed through the trees, sending shivers down the spines of all who heard her. The sound of her sorrow seemed to seep into the bones of her listeners, leaving them shaken and disturbed. For many, the experience was too much to bear, and they fled the park in terror, never to return. Yet there were some who couldn't resist the lady's allure. They followed her through the darkness, hoping to catch another glimpse of her haunting beauty, or perhaps to speak with her and learn the secrets of her sorrow. But those who ventured too close soon learned the dangers of such curiosity, for the Lady of the Lake was not to be trifled with. In the stillness of the night, the Lady of the Lake would stand by the shore of Chapultepec Lake, her translucent form shimmering in the moonlight. Her white dress billowing around her like a ghostly cloud, she gazed out at the water, her eyes filled with an otherworldly sadness. At times, she could be seen reaching out a hand toward the lake, as if trying to grasp something just beyond her reach. One evening, a young man named Diego decided to test his courage and approached the lake to get a closer look. As he drew nearer, he could hear the faint sound of sobbing, and the sight that greeted him was both beautiful and terrifying. The Lady of the Lake stood bathed in moonlight, her form almost ethereal in the soft light. But as Diego watched, her form began to shimmer and fade, and with a start, he realized he was witnessing a ghost. Frightened but determined, Diego called out to her, hoping to get an answer. But his voice echoed back to him unanswered. The Lady of the Lake turned, her face pale and drawn in the moonlight, and for a moment their eyes met. Then with a sob, she turned back to the lake and vanished into the mist. Diego never forgot the haunting look in her eyes, and he knew he had stumbled upon a secret best left undisturbed. He raced home, his heart pounding in his chest, and never returned to Chapultepec after dark again, not wanting to disturb the restless spirit that haunted its shores. In the following decades, the Lady of the Lake became a fixture of local lore, her story passed down through generations of Mexicans. During the 19th century, newspapers began reporting sightings of the Lady in the Lake. These accounts often included descriptions of the apparition walking across the water, leaving footprints that vanished on her passing. Some witnesses even claimed to have seen her beckoning to them from the shore, her voice a mournful cry of Miss Hijos, which translates to "my children." These stories coincided with several mysterious drownings in the lake, and many residents began to believe that the Lady of the Lake was responsible. Though police investigated these cases, they were unable to find any suspects, leading to speculation that the ghost was to blame. The 20th century brought with it new tales of the Lady of the Lake. Park guards and night workers began logging sightings in police records, adding to the growing body of evidence suggesting that the ghost was real. One officer, Miguel Cortez, recalled an incident in which he and his partner responded to a call about a woman screaming by the lake. When they arrived, they saw the phantom cries echoing from the water, but there was no one in sight. Soon, they felt an inexplicable chill, and a sense of dread washed over them. They could hear the woman's voice, but when they tried to locate her, she vanished into thin air. Another time, while on patrol, Oscar saw a woman's silhouette standing on the shore of the lake. He described her as being very tall and thin, with long flowing hair. When he approached her, she turned and looked at him, and he felt an overwhelming sense of fear and sadness emanating from her. However, when he tried to speak to her, she vanished into thin air. In 1984, a group of paranormal investigators visited Chapultepec Lake to document any unusual activity. Using a recorder, they captured what they believed to be the Lady of the Lake's voice. In the recording, a female voice is heard weeping and calling for children. The investigators never identified the source of the voice, leading them to believe it was the ghost of the Lady of the Lake. In recent years, the Lady of the Lake has continued to make regular appearances, keeping her vigil by the shore of Chapultepec Lake. Taxi drivers claim to see her pale form crossing the park's roads at night, only to vanish into thin air when approached. And police dispatch logs include numerous calls about a drowning woman in the lake. Every time officers arrive at the scene, however, they find nothing but empty water. Ghost tours of Chapultepec have become popular tourist attractions, with guides regaling visitors with tales of the Lady of the Lake's haunting presence. Many tourists report feeling a sudden chill or drop in temperature when near the lake, as well as hearing unexplained sounds or seeing strange apparitions. Is the Lady of the Lake merely a retelling of the centuries-old story of La Llorona, or is she something darker, a restless spirit bound to Chapultepec forever? Perhaps the truth lies somewhere in between? As the legend continues to evolve and adapt, one thing remains constant: the Lady of the Lake is still searching. And if she mistakes you for one of her children, you may never return. So next time you find yourself in Chapultepec Park, keep an eye on the mist rising from the lake. Listen closely to the whispers on the wind, for the Lady of the Lake is watching, waiting for her next victim.